What up, everyone? John Mosales here. It's the Fantasy NFL Today Show, brought to you by Sports Ethos. Today we are doing best ball basics. I got my man Anthony Quaranta on, AQ Fresh, who is the best ball vet, wizard of best ball, whatever you want to call it. He's going to be on. He's going to be explaining best ball to me. We're going to do a best ball draft. We're going to answer 1,000 questions, and this is going to be the start of hopefully a profitable venture, but probably not. Anthony, what's shaking?
Oh, not much. Just excited to do a draft, talk about best ball, and just kind of get back into it. Best ball starts early. It started in January, so we're already 3 months into drafting.
Yeah, so for you fantasy nutsos like us, where it's like, Jesus, I'm not ready to wait till August. It's April. It's before the draft. It's ridiculous. There's rookies. We're going to be drafting rookies. We don't even know what teams they're on. Guys are still being traded. It's still free agency. It's chaos. But, I mean, nothing's more fun than drafts. And if we're going to learn, let's start learning now. I guess that wasn't a question. So, Anthony, best ball. So, basics, like elevator pitch. Let's say you're trying to, sell me on best ball before we get to the 12th floor.
Yeah, so it's a fun hobby. It can certainly be profitable, but it's really you can't bank on it because it's just so hard to predict and whatnot. But I mean, essentially, what it is you draft 18 to 20 rounds. Currently, with the pre-draft best ball, it's 20 rounds. So you kind of get a couple extra darts at the end of the draft. It's 3 receivers, 2 running backs, a quarterback, a tight end, and a flex. You draft, and that's it. There's no sort of roster management. There's no trades. There's no waiver wire, free agency. There's no roster setting. It will just set your best optimal lineup every week for you. And if a player gets hurt, like you can't pick anybody up to replace him. If there's a player that went undrafted in your draft room, such as like Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams a couple years ago, both for the Rams went undrafted a lot, except for towards the end of the year. They're just not part of your tournament, or at least your pod at that point. So it's really fun. It's kind of, if you like to draft, it's the perfect hobby because you don't have to then manage 10, 25, 50, 100, 200, however many teams you draft. You can draft as many as you want. You don't have to manage them. So if you just like drafting, I think it's a great hobby.
It might be the best invention ever. So we're going to keep going into this. If you're a best ball veteran, maybe you'll learn some stuff. If you're like me, best ball newbie, you're just trying to keep up. So and explain this is how it works. It's like cumulative points, but you want to make the playoffs, which gets you into another round, which gets you into another round, which gets you into another round.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, every tournament, I guess the format, as you will, is a little bit different, but generally speaking, they're all 12-team drafts. So you go to enter, you just kind of wait for your draft to fill. It's a snake draft. Wherever you fall, it's random. And so for the first 14 weeks, it's all just cumulative points. And the top 1 or 2 at the end of week 14 move on to the playoffs, which is week 15 to week 17, just like, all of your other fantasy leagues and all other formats. It will then put you into random pods of like 12, 15, or however many each tournament dictates. And then if you finish in the top 1 or 2 in week 15, you move on to week 16. Same process. If you finish top 1 or 2, whatever each tournament dictates, you move on to week 17. Week 17 is the final week, just like I said, just like all your other formats. And it is, sometimes it can be it could be like a 500 person, pod. And it's, if you finish first in week 17, congrats, you win first place prize, which is obviously different for every tournament. As you can see, there's different buy-ins and different prize pools and different amount of entrants and whatnot. So that's kind of basically the gist of it and how it works throughout the season and then the playoffs.
Yeah, probably not realistic to plan to win. So what's the goal? So you draft your team, you just want to, you want to make your money back or something, but you want to just become top 2, right? You do that, that's considered a win, right?
Yeah, so I think if you advance to week 15, I think that's a victory in itself. Oftentimes, at least, so I've been doing this. This is my 3rd year doing best ball. And each of the first 2 years, I mean, it really comes down to like really comes down to one team, essentially. If you make one team to week 17, that's really kind of considered a great year. That can kind of often be the difference on if you happen to make a couple bucks or if you're breaking even or losing a little bit. So it's certainly important to play within your means. But I mean, you can make money, but I think if you just make week 15, I'm pretty happy with that.
And then, about how many teams did you have last year?
I think I had like over 200 teams last year.
200. Oh my God. I thought you were going to say like 40.
No,
200. Oh my
yeah,
God.
I had over 200 teams last year. All of their
This is the most addictive thing in the world. I'm opening up a whole new. This is going to be a problem.
yeah, this is it.
200.
Yeah. I mean, so a lot of the tournaments will have like a max entry. And I mean, some people max out every tournament at like 150 entries or what have you. I can't do all that. I'll play a handful in each tournament just to kind of have some darts in every tournament or most of them. Like I don't really go for the ones that are too expensive on an entry fee. That's just not. I'd rather do more of the cheaper drafts than less of the more expensive ones.
Yeah,
But
because
it
also,
just kind of depends on what you want to do. Like it's
also
probably easier to profit a little bit in a tournament that has 864 people compared to a tournament that has 223,000 people.
sure, but also the people doing that 250 probably a little sharper than the people doing the $10. Like, I did a high entry league last year, and I yeah, it said I had the best draft after, and I came in like second last place, right? So it's like, the margins get thinner, the edges get smaller. So, but
Yeah,
250 is the goal. The goal is so maybe we'll do 1 250 by the end of the summer. But we're gonna start with the $10. So let's just jump in. Let's get the league going because we don't know how long it'll take to load. And then we'll just kind of keep learning and asking questions along the way.
cool. Yeah, and then you can do 30 seconds per pick, or you could do a slow draft at 8 hours per pick. Obviously,
That's
we're going to
cool.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to enter a lot of the slow drafts.
So, oh my God, here we go. Draft time. Oh, we just need the Yahoo song. This is the best. This is the great. Oh, this is gonna be. I can tell it's gonna be a big problem for me.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for 4 more people. It probably just take a minute or two. It never takes too long.
So right off the bat, what's the biggest difference? Best ball versus like a snake redraft. Like
Um,
what? Yeah, what jumps out?
so I think the biggest difference is, at least for me personally, in best ball, I like to shoot more for ceiling
Mm,
because again, it sets your best lineup every week. So those spike week players, we'll kind of get into some of them later, kind of throughout the draft. But off the top of my head, guys like Rashid Shaheed, right? Alec Pierce last year, just kind of some of those guys. You never know when it's coming. So like in a redraft league, you just kind of got to pick your spot to start him and hope you get the spike week. And we all know how frustrating that can be. Whereas in best ball, like he's just on your bench, and when he has 2 50-yard touchdowns, he's in your lineup that week. And when he has one catch for 20 yards, he's just not in your lineup. So I think it allows you to shoot more for ceiling than trying to build a safe floor to make sure that you're really competitive every week. Though
so
though it still is important to have some sort of floor, like don't get me wrong, but it's a bit more ceiling chasing.
So what about with these early round picks, right? So like last year, what would is just Saquon would have been the best pick no matter what, just because he's Saquon?
Yeah, so Saquon was going in like the middle of the second round last year, which in hindsight was a huge mistake. And yeah, if you had Saquon, there was a good chance that you, as long as you kind of build the team correctly and hit in other places, he allowed you a decent margin of error to kind of miss on some guys and still help you get into the playoffs and win folks some money. So yeah, Saquon was one of the big picks last year.
Sure, of course.
The playoff team, yeah.
And then how many people? Waiting for 2 people. Okay, right. And then
Yeah.
stacks. I know you're a big stack guy. I love everyone loves who doesn't love a stack, but like if you get Chase, let's say Chase is first overall. Let's say we get Chase third. Are we getting Burrow like no matter what?
It doesn't have to be no matter what. Because there's so much value in waiting for quarterbacks and whatnot, but the ADP actually falls really nicely. If you get the 1-on-1, you could get Jamar Chase I think T. Higgins is down there. His ADP, I think, is about 23. We can look at that real quick. And then Joe Burrow falls in there right around pick 50. Oh, we get the fourth pick. Okay.
Is that good? Is that good?
I mean, I don't hate it. I like picking personally. I like picking towards. I like picking closer to a turn, whether it's the front or the back. I just feel like oftentimes there's kind of like two guys I'm trying to like decide between. So picking closer to the turn allows me to hope and pray that I get both. But I mean, 4 is fine. For the first round this year, I actually prefer to pick towards the back half of the draft. I just kind of like the value there a little bit better.
It's kind of a glut, right? It's all the guy who goes 4 could go 9, right?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to see Justin Jefferson fall to 9, but I just like
JJ
I
McCarthy. So what's our goal here? We're chasing ceiling. We want to have the best fantasy player. We want Saquon, right? We want the guy to score the most points.
Yeah, Saquon would be great. He probably won't fall to 4.
Last year's Saquon, I meant. Like we want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Last year Saquon. Yeah, it's kind of about finding those players that obviously that are going to outperform their ADP. But I also think in terms of best ball, because at least for me, stacking is so important for the way that I draft. I think it's kind of about teams as well that I think are going to overperform. And I'll tell you, I'm really big on the Falcons this year. So anytime I'm kind of closer to the back half of the first round, like picks like 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it's kind of a quick turnaround. Saquon went first. There we go. I'll take Drake London there because I think the Falcons are going to overperform. Okay. 25 seconds. What do we want to do here? We could go hero RB and then take a bunch of receivers and quarterbacks, or we can just go the stud receiver. I really like
Gibbs. I like Gibbs.
Yeah, I was going to lean towards Gibbs too. Let's do a little hero RB. I usually draft on my phone, so that's why I kind of queued them up just in case I didn't get to the draft button in time, which I didn't. It drafted. Otherwise, it'll kind of just draft the next person in line.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jefferson's great, and we've seen he's QB proof. But McCarthy's not going to have a Darnold season. I wouldn't mind Lamb because Dak lost like 20 pounds, but I don't know.
Yeah. I like Justin Jefferson. He's a stud. He was actually my first round pass in my ADP article. Not because I don't think he's great, but I just think that I just don't think it's a great chance he finishes in the top 2 wide receivers. Is really what it is. I really thought about picking though. I certainly pick him in my spots. If I'm at 4, I'm not going to be adverse to picking Justin Jefferson, but just not my favorite click on the board at ADP in the first round.
And so, what are we thinking? What's our goal here? Are we trying to win? Are we trying to win week 17, or we're just trying to get into week 15? That's our mentality.
So that actually kind of brings up some week 17 correlating stacks. So once obviously we don't know the schedule right now. We know opponents, but not when they play each other. So there's this ongoing debate in the best ball community whether or not week 17 correlation, kind of in like bring back games, like if 2 years ago, if in week 17, Dallas played the Lions, and it was the year that the Lions kind of broke out on offense. So if you happen to have like CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Amon-Ra, Jared Goff, Gibbs or Montgomery like that year, you probably made some money. But you have to get to week 17, right? And as I discussed earlier, that's just so hard that you kind of just draft the team as it falls. If it correlates with week 17, that's cool. But the goal is ultimately to make week 15 and get to week 17. So you just have to draft the best team as the board presents itself at the end of the day.
Okay. And then, so what have we seen here? So we saw like Christian McCaffrey. I guess that's kind of a shoot in the moon pick, right? Because if he's healthy, he's still got first overall player in him. When are we up?
We got 3 picks. I don't think AJ Brown's going to fall, but I would slam AJ Brown.
Why? But Philly doesn't really like to pass. Their defense is great. That doesn't seem like a good why wouldn't one Buck? We could go double running back with Bucky.
We could. That is a strategy. We can just go double RB real
All right.
quick and then draft a little. There went AJ Brown, so that kind of changes the strategy.
Well,
Ooh,
Henry, nope. Okay. But,
ooh,
I mean,
Derrick Henry.
Bucky was crazy last year. Tampa, right? Bad defense, great offense. That's a good division. I'm a big Bucky guy.
You know what? Let's do it. I wanted to do an RB heavy draft earlier. I did a draft earlier today, and it just didn't really work out for me. So yeah, let's make this happen.
All right, JSN, super target town. JSN's my guy too, but I
Yeah,
think
like
if we're shooting week 17, I think you go double running back studs because right, if they're healthy, we're set, and then we can just draft crazy wide receivers and just hope for the best.
yeah, no, for sure. I think that this pick has to be a wide receiver though, because we start three. So I think that
We start three. Oh, three wide receiver. Okay, okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah. So I think we got our two stud running backs. I like that. And now we can. This is certainly an RB heavy strategy for sure, but it can certainly work. We just gotta pick our spot at wide receiver. I'm thinking personally here. I love Garrett Wilson if he makes it to
We,
us.
we, we can't. Not with Justin Fields, man. We can't.
He fell or he got drafted. So
Okay,
okay,
good.
what are
I
we
would like
doing here?
McLaurin, DJ Moore. Oh man, Marvin Harrison in the bounce back
I know I don't love Terry McLaurin.
because he's too good.
No, I just don't. I just think that Washington is going to end up adding somebody on offense. I like using where we could just go three running backs and call it a day, or
Who
let's
else?
go to
Who's below? Who's
let's go
below?
DJ Moore.
I like yeah. I mean Keenan's old. I mean, so if we.
No,
I also really want to get a Dunes. Oh, is he gone?
no, we
Oh,
took DJ Moore. Yeah, we can. Let's see. When do we pick next? We can certainly try to shoot for. Let me see the board. We can just try to. Yeah, that's about when um, Roma Dunes goes is about 45, and then I think yeah, we could feasibly go for a bear stack. Take a Dunes at 45 if he's
oh,
there.
and get Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb is going. I think right around in like the mid 90s, so we can certainly try for that. Um,
Right, Ben Johnson. O line's
yeah,
improved.
there's a lot of potential in the Bears offense this year. So I'm certainly happy to do it. I like to also you have to kind of like spread it around a little bit as
So
far as
yeah,
exposure
that's
for different guys and different players.
what's the
Um,
thing when I always say people say they have this percentage, right? They're 27% invest or something. That's just
right.
how many times they have them. If they had 100 teams, 27 of them would have like DJ Moore.
Yes, that's how that works. It's just the percentage of drafts that you drafted a certain player. So yeah, if we're using the round number of 100, if you have 27% DJ Moore, you drafted him 27 out of 100 times.
Which would be crazy, right? Like that's like what's the highest you had on like a good player?
On a good player,
Yeah, like
I've
like a
had
DJ Moore top 3 rounds
a top 3 rounds.
or
Ooh.
five, whatever. Just
Last year I had not that it ended up good for me. I had like 23% Michael Pittman, who's going in the first 3 or 4 rounds.
Oh, 23% Michael Pitt. Oh wow. So you were
Yeah,
just I know you were on Pittman early in the rankings, but so you wanted Flacco? Like did you make the correlation early that's like get Anthony Richards out of here
yeah.
in the second season?
I actually drafted a decent. Yeah, I drafted a decent amount of Joe Flacco because I didn't think that Anthony Richardson would play 17 games. Oh, I mean, a lot of players don't, but um, I mean, after his rookie season, he only played 4 games, so I knew that there maybe was a little bit more risk there. And to be frank, Flacco probably would have been better for Michael Pittman's value overall.
Oh yeah, it's not even close, right?
Right. So yeah, I went for it. It didn't work. Not
Good
everything
low,
you do is obviously going to work. So we'll see. We're
but
getting close.
that's a good low key stack, right? Oh, all right. So we're up. We're almost up.
Yeah, we're 3 picks away. We're close. So Dunes is still there. Certainly
Do
happy
we?
to go. Yeah, I'm happy to go for the. I'm happy to try to get
What
a.
about so Rasheed Rice? So we got right. We know he's a superstar. He's got Mahomes coming off the injury. Is it? But he might be week 5 till he peaks. Is that something you want to stay away from, or you want to target?
So low key, I think if we would have started with, and maybe I'm not thinking about this the right way, but I think if we would have drafted 2 wide receivers, I would have been more. I think
Okay,
it would have been better off. I think I would have been more okay taking Rice just because you start so many. I'm gonna take O'Dunes here, by the way.
perfect. I love Odunze.
Yeah,
My one of the big themes of the draft guide is going to be second year, post hype sleepers, right?
right. Okay, very cool. Yeah, and I think O'Dunes really could fit that bill, especially in what should be a more explosive offense.
So now we have DJ Moore, we have Odunze.
I
So
think let's see where Caleb Williams is going because we have to get Williams at
so
this
we have
point.
to get Caleb, right? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
like at this point, he's ADP. I think it said it was 95. We pick 93. I don't see any reason why anybody else should reach and take him.
Has anyone gone QB yet? Oh, I see Burrow's off the board.
Yeah, a few people.
So
Yeah.
Burrow. So how do people will people go 2 QBs, 3 QBs?
So, some folks like to try to do like 2 elite quarterbacks. I don't know that it will work, at least for our team. Like I don't think we should go 2 heavy quarterbacks, but the theory is, I guess they just kind of interchange. Who do we want to take here? I really like. What are you thinking? We got 20 seconds.
What do we want another one? I mean, Olave, God, Addison, no Addison, Sutton. I don't trust Olave. I don't trust Godwin. Sutton,
Sutton works for me.
who's a little below. Waddle, how much time we got?
It goes so quick. I know. Dude, I know it goes so quickly. Yeah, no, I'm cool with Courtland Sutton. We can, yeah, especially with Bo Nix. We could be in line to get Bo Nix as well, but I think that
I would
Caleb
think you'd really want to get 2 good QBs because if Caleb has his 10 for 22, 86-yard game, right? We want to have at least Bo Nix with his 50 rushing, 200. If you're not going early QB, I would think maybe our 8, 9, well, maybe our 7, 8 picks would both be QBs.
The problem is we'd have to really reach for Bo Nix, like around an. I don't think that's worth it. But if the ADPs match up, yeah, I certainly don't mind taking 2 quarterbacks like that 8, 9, 9, 10.
Yeah, Goff and Caleb. Yeah. Brock, can we get Brock? Can we get Brock Purdy and Caleb? That would be the dream.
We could, and there's a chance we can get Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall.
So really, this is like chess, right? It's like, okay, if we're gonna get that guy late, let's make sure to get this guy. That's what we're trying to do, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly always kind of looking at. I mean, you probably just see me clicking around the board and kind of changing stuff around here. So I'm kind of always looking to see maybe where we can pick up a stack, thinking about the quarterbacks that are going later. Like I said, I mean, once we pick DJ Moore, I'm already looking, okay, where's O'Dunes going? Where's Caleb Williams going? Okay, like this actually lines up, but we don't have to reach. Now, again, of course, somebody could take Caleb Williams, ahead of us for just because maybe they're a Bears fan and they want Caleb Williams. And then we kind of have to readjust. So that's why it's also important to kind of talk about, like you said, let's look at Bo Nix. If Bo Nix is there 91 or 93 when we pick or what have you, and somebody took Caleb Williams, now we can stack him with Courtland Sutton. You talked about what's his name, Brock Purdy. So now in the next 5 picks, if we want to do Brock Purdy, we can look at Juwan Jennings. We can look at Ricky Pearsall, and then somewhere down here, yeah, even Brandon Ayuk is an option.
What about tight end? I feel like we should go tight end. Let's see who's. Can we go
tight end? My favorite tight end target is Evan Ingram at his current cost. Personally, he's going.
So Evan late, Njoku late. Okay.
And that would then if we end up getting Bo Nix, what's their ADP?
Do we have to take Monty here though?
Monty wouldn't be a bad pick. Ooh, Yeah, I like pairing running backs
especially in Detroit.
in the same backfield. Even if it's like I wouldn't mind pairing, even if we don't get like Baker Mayfield or any sort of buck stack, I don't mind pairing Bucky Irving with Rashad White, just kind of locking up what should be a high value backfield. That's like it's also like if you draft Chuba Hubbard,
Oh yeah,
then yeah, we are. I'm cool with going. I mean, I'm cool with going David Montgomery.
I love
And
Monty. I love Monty. Touchdown machine.
we can do Jaden Reed as kind of a bit of an upside pick. We can do Ricky
Oh
Pearsall. I'm thinking about Brock Purdy. I think Montgomery is a good pick.
yeah, I love that. I love that. So we're right. We got two Chicago. We got two Detroit. Is that something you should kind of end up doing? You're kind of getting these team pockets of teams because
Oh,
like that Chicago offense explodes. We're looking good, and we know Detroit offense is already awesome.
yeah. I mean, it's something that I think about. I don't really. It's not something that I actively try to do, but it's kind of nice because you play them twice a year, and if you get two like high scoring games, then naturally you're going to have a lot of players score a lot of points in those games. So it can certainly be beneficial. And if you want to go back to that Week 17 correlation, they play twice a year. There's as good a chance as any that they'll end up playing in Week 17. So there's definitely that too. I think that we should go just kind of because we're up in 4 picks, just to get back to the board a little bit, just because things move quickly. I definitely think we should go with a wide receiver here. I think we can ignore running back for like 100 picks.
So what about Brandon Ayuk? I saw he's a little bit down there.
I
Is
think
that
I
something
saw.
we want to bounce back bet on or no?
So I saw somewhere. I think that he's not. He might not play till like halfway through the year.
Gross. Okay.
Uh, I think that we might need a receiver that's available more often, just because the way we're built with the two Bears, you can't expect them both to be in your lineup every week. And then Cortland Sutton, I think is
Shakir.
a pretty strong player.
Shakir. What? That seems.
I like Shakir. I like Shakir a lot. He should be the one, unless the Bills add somebody
Yeah. But
in the draft. Pearsall's still available.
I like
We
Pearsall
can.
too. What do you think?
I
I'm
like
sorry.
Pearsall. I think he's got a high ceiling. We can also shake it up and go with one of the rookies with Burden or Golden.
Okay,
Kind
let's go Pearsall. I like Pearsall. He's good. They
all
got
right.
rid of Debo. No Ayuk. Yeah, Pearsall. Ricky. I'm a big believer in the Niners. Do we get him?
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Best-
I know. I'm slow. That's why I always hit the star when I draft on my computer. I usually do it on my phone. You can just kind of like swipe. Um.
Oh yeah, that's nice too.
Yeah. But with my
Okay, so
computer,
talk to
if
me
I
about rookies. Right? They don't have teams, so it's like, is there more value in drafting him? Because like, let's say I don't even know who's Kinshawn Jeffries. Who do you know? Who is he?
who?
Who's that guy? Kinshawn Jenkins? Judkins?
Oh, yeah, running back out of Ohio State. So rookies, I mean, they impose an inherent risk in that we don't know the draft capital, we don't know the team, if they're going to be asked to step in right away, or if it's going to be a situation like where like the Bears last year. They had Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. They drafted Roma Dunes at 10. Roma Dunes is a phenomenal talent. He wasn't going to be great last year because he was clearly the third receiver. Um,
Yeah, like
so all,
JSN 2 years ago. But
right, yeah,
if you had gotten the Xavier, oh my God, the KC burner, what's
Xavier Worthy.
right where he goes to KC, it's like I've just won best ball.
Yeah, he was a big pick last year. So I mean, it just kind of all depends. A lot of times though, with like like the stud rookies, like Ashton Jeanty and people are high on Ted McMillan, and I think the Matthew Golden train is rolling. Oftentimes when players like that, once they get a team assigned to them, it just naturally goes up. Like when Jeanty gets drafted, like if he gets drafted at 6, like I think he might kind of creep up more into the middle of the first round than the back of the first round.
Where did
Uh,
he go here tonight?
let's look. Gene T went 12th. Yeah.
12.
Yeah,
So people are saying Raiders. Like, what's the
yeah, like if he goes to the Raiders or the Bears, I'm willing to bet his ADP is going to jump up a couple spots. Travion Henderson's another one. He's a guy that I really like. I think if he gets drafted to say somewhere like Dallas in like the early second round, or somewhere a team that needs a running back, high in the second round or even late in the first round. He's drafted in the 60s. I think his ADP could go way up. So it kind of just depends at the end of the day.
Okay. So
Okay.
where are we up? When are we up? Two,
All
three
right.
picks here. So we
We've
staring
got,
down a QB.
yeah, this is where we get Caleb Williams. We could, we could. So there's 4 quarterbacks still on the board. We're 3 ahead of him. We can try to play the game of chicken, but I think we're probably just best to get our guy.
Well, let's look at wide receivers. Is there anyone that's just jumping out? Like
Uh,
I love Jalen Warren, Darnell Mooney, right? If Drake would get hurt,
Yeah, the
um,
2 to me that jump out in this range are Mooney and Shaheed. There went Warren. I think both would be great for our team. I would just get our guy in Caleb Williams.
well, let's
Um,
look. When are we on the fourth pick, or when do we pick again? Do we pick again
we,
now and then in 8 picks, or in
yeah,
16?
we'll pick again at 100. So 93, and then we'll pick again at 100.
Okay, so let's take our QB then.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
Mooney, oh man, how much time do we have? Oh, we don't have any time. Okay, just do it.
No,
Did you do it?
it's 30 seconds. It goes by quick.
Jesus Christ.
I'm definitely in. Mooney would have been if we weren't taking Williams, I would have went with Mooney or Shaheed. I think Shaheed is going to be the slam dunk pick here for me at 100. Unless you want to
Really?
go with the 2 QBs and we can take Bo Nix to stack with.
Well, Baker was QB4. He's been QB4 the last 2 years. And we got Bucky, so right, if he gets any touchdowns, he throws to Bucky.
Yeah, I just don't love not pairing him with a wide receiver.
Who? Oh, yeah.
Baker or most quarterbacks.
It's Jalen
I
McMillan went a while ago, I guess.
McMillan, no, might still be on the board. No, he might have went.
He must
Yeah,
have.
yeah, this is around the range that he goes. He must have gone. I would either go Bo Nix or Shaheed or
Oh,
my
is Baker
2
gone?
here. Yeah, Baker just went. It's
Yeah,
not
Bo
even.
Nix. I'm fine with Bo
Sometimes,
Nix. I love Bo Nix for the Sutton. I mean, second year jump. Even though he was so good as a rookie. I don't. I just. But that offense should be better. Yeah. I'm big Knicks guy. What a Goff, and then anytime he throws to his running backs, I feel like he doesn't throw to the running backs that often for touchdowns.
Yeah, let's do Bo Nix because then we can. That's cool, and then we can just be done with quarterback.
Oh, and then we want to get Evan Ingram, right? Then are we locked into Evan Ingram?
Yeah, Evan Ingram would be our next pick. So we pick at 117, and his ADP is 120. Though he's a guy that's been rising. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets ahead of us, but I'm still fine because we have Cortland Sutton. And if we even take a third quarterback, we can just kind of take somebody really late, to be honest.
Yeah. Are you happy with the team so far? Is this stuff falling into place? Like you seem like you're a maestro. Like you've clearly done hundreds of these. Like it's it's cool to watch you work.
So I think it's interesting. I don't think it would be my ideal setup, but I mean, it hardly your ideal setup is the one that wins it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty good team for sure. I think that we're gonna need to nail some of our late round quarterbacks, especially if we get an
quarterbacks.
Or I'm sorry, wide receivers. No,
okay. I was like, how many quarterbacks do we need?
No, we're pretty set on quarterback. Again, I think we have such a strong running back room.
We're just shooting for wide receivers.
Yeah,
So
I'm very comfortable with Bucky starting pretty much every week. And everyone has a down week, but he's going to be a top running back more weeks than not. And then, sometimes starting both Gibbs and Montgomery ends up being a great option. But we're definitely getting one out of those 2 guys. So yeah, for me now, I think the most important thing in my mind is going to be getting, nailing some of the mid to late round wide receivers we're going to get.
So we're taking Ingram here, right? Even though your boy Shaheed and Pittman are there, like is that?
So I don't think Shaheed's not going to be there in 11 picks.
Okay.
I just I can't imagine. If he is, then we have to take Shaheed, even though.
And then would we get Carr late too? Would he be our third QB?
Yeah, that would be an option for Shaheed. So I don't really like Derek Carr. And I know you were even talking about earlier, like, well, we're going to take some of these quarterbacks over Baker Mayfield. I agree. On its face, it sounds crazy. I think Baker Mayfield is probably the best quarterback in that range. But sometimes it's about how you build your team. And again, we picked the two early Bears. We're not going to go ahead and pass on Caleb Williams for Baker Mayfield, even though Baker Mayfield may have a better year. It just doesn't make the most sense for our team.
Okay, and so really, so with this team, if schedule comes out, like we want week 15. Would we want week 17, like in Detroit, or would we want
I,
it early in the playoffs, 15, if it's going to be a 45-40?
So low key, I would really love to have the Bears and Lions play in week 15 and week 17.
Oh,
Sometimes they do that with division opponents, and
they
for
do.
whatever weird reason, like that would be ideal, I think, for this team. But it probably won't happen. So I mean, if they get one matchup in the playoffs, I'd be pretty happy about that.
But because both defenses were kind of bad and Lions games are always high scoring.
Yeah, I think Marvin Mims would be a good pick as well.
Big Mims guy. Big
Yeah,
Mims guy.
we have to. I think.
But don't we need a tight end because it's still a position?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. We're getting close to where I'm getting a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna pick.
There's still guys. There's still guys. I mean, right? Ferguson, Pitts, Isaiah Likely.
Everybody. Yeah, let's go with Mims because everybody else after us has a tight end. So I think we can play the game of chicken. And if we miss out, it's okay. There's some later guys.
Man, yeah, okay. So if we didn't go Mims, I mean Hollywood, Keenan, would we go triple Bears? Would we do that?
Did Keenan Allen re-sign with the Bears, or is he still a free agent?
Oh, I don't know actually.
I think he's still a free agent. Yeah, he doesn't have a team listed here.
Yeah, obviously, but I want to you take the Mims burner over the 33-year-old Keenan Allen every day.
But yeah, I think at this point in the draft, I do at least for sure. Okay, so I think Evan Ingram's our slam dunk pick here next.
Did we lose Mims?
No, we picked Mims.
Oh, it goes so fast, man.
Dude, it does. It really. I know I've said it 100 times. These drafts fly, and that's why it's important to have a plan. And sometimes you can have a plan and it goes off the rails, and halfway through I'll just be like, I'll be looking at it like, man, this team sucks. And I don't feel that way about this team. I actually think this team is shaping up to be pretty good. I'm going to be a little annoyed if somebody does take Evan Ingram here, but
so go to the board, show us the draft board. So
we're up in one pick, so let's just
pick Evan Ingram then. So let's say we don't want Ingram. Is there anyone else? Like see, we don't.
Yes, we're gonna get Ingram. Okay, let's. Perfect. All right. I think this team is gonna work out pretty well. I think.
Now are you like, should we have done the 250?
No. I'm not ready to do. I normally don't do anything above a $25 draft.
It goes so fast. Why would you want to? Just give me all like 1,000 of these. This is a real big problem for me, man.
I think if I were gonna do a 250 or like a more expensive draft, for me a $50 draft would be pretty expensive, right? That's gonna be a slow draft for me because you see how quickly it moves, and like if somebody would have sniped us on one of our quarterbacks or Evan Ingram there, it's like, oh my God, like, what do you do? And you have like that 30 seconds goes really quickly sometimes. So
that's true for other people too, though, right? It's like, if you're good at the pressure cooker, which you are, right? So, but I hear you. Okay. What are we doing next? Are we looking for home runs? So we're looking for Brian Thomas Jr. last year.
So I think at this point, I think I'm gonna kind of look for some home run shots because we're gonna be pretty reliant on at least one of the Bears and one of the and one of the Broncos receivers starting every week. So that's gonna be 2 out of our 3 spots. So I think that I'm gonna shoot a little bit for personally. I would shoot for ceiling here a little bit.
So we want
at
wide
least
receiver
spot. Yeah. At least the wide receiver spot, just to kind of fill in the cracks. And just kind of hope that the.
So Quentin Johnson then, right? Because Josh Palmer went to the Pats, right? They didn't get anyone else. It's Vlad and Quentin. And Quentin had some big touchdown games, right?
Yeah, I don't hate Quentin Johnson. He scored 8 touchdowns last year, 700 yards. He had a bit of a better season than I thought he had.
Yeah, What about Likely though? Likely the double tight
I
end.
love I love Isaiah Likely. I think he ends up being the starting tight end for Baltimore.
So
Um,
Likely double because Ingram's also coming off an injury. If we get Dick from tight end that tight end spot, I'm
yeah,
asking you. You're the expert here.
no, yeah, I wouldn't consider myself an expert, but I certainly appreciate it. I mean, I would take Isaiah Likely here and then just be done with tight end or take
Yeah,
one like 20th round just for
I love it. Likely,
whatever.
Likely's
But
such a boss.
yeah, I likely would be an option. I honestly don't really love the
Ooh,
receivers.
Leggett? They just said he's a number one.
I'm not a fan of Xavier Leggett. I never was.
Post type sleeper though, right? Cedric Tillman.
Cedric Tillman could work. Cedric Tillman might be an option. I worry about what the Browns are gonna do.
Yeah, of course.
With quarterback, with everything else going on over there. We might
Do we think Likely will fall?
there's a chance. I think we kind of got boxed out at wide receiver here for at least this pick, which is a shame, but that's all right. We'll pick
Why
again.
did Tillman go?
You don't want to reach too far. I wouldn't pick Tillman here. I think it's a bit too far.
Okay.
I would rather go Likely and just have a really good.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Likely, I love it. Likely stuff. He's just week one. He had a monster. He's their last TD of the season. He's kind of their explosive guy. Andrews Andrews might be cooked, or who knows.
Yeah, I think he steps up in a big way this year. One of the tight ends that I love in this range is actually Kyle Pitts. I think tight end 18 is a little too low for him.
Didn't you just say you had 21% of him last year, and he was trash? Like you got to be getting cut.
No, that was Michael Pittman, not Kyle
sorry,
Pitts.
Michael Pittman. All right, okay.
Yeah, I just think that he actually went here right after we picked Likely. I just think at the cost. At the cost. I like Michael Penix. I think that the Falcons, I think I said this earlier in the stream, I think the Falcons are a team that's going to outperform expectations. I think Michael Penix is going to be the real deal. So ultimately, I think some of these guys like Darnell Mooney we talked about earlier and not Michael Pittman and Kyle Pitts, I think are ultimately going to be undervalued just because I think that the Falcons I think their offense is going to be great.
So we got 2 tight ends, 2 QBs, 3 running backs, bunch of wide receivers. Are we looking wide receiver or running back here? Like this is like Ty Spears is nice. But is Leggett? What are the wide receivers? Can we get Tillman yet?
We can take him here. He's not a guy that I love taking personally. If you can sell me on him, I'm certainly not opposed to taking him.
He was great before he had concussion, right? He was getting 80 yards. I think he was a rookie. He broke out. Everyone raved about him. Right? Judy's not really a true one. Browns kind of suck. So, all they need is a QB, right? I thought Tillman was the real deal when I've watched a few Browns games. I'm big Seti Tillman guy. It's like Jalen Coker, I don't trust. Dielen's old. Yeah.
So would you go Tillman or Dowdle here?
I'd go Tillman. I think he's got blow up potential. Dowdle is probably split backfield. I think Tillman's more likely to crack our lineups than Dowdle will be.
You're probably right, especially the way our running backs are set up. So yeah, we went Tillman.
Nice. Wicks would have been good too, though. People keep projecting him to blow up, but
I like Wicks a lot. Wicks is
Alec Pierce, still guys.
Yeah, I like Alec Pierce. Wicks and Alex Pierce are actually both. They both made my pick for their respective round in my article. I think that they both have high upside, and once you get into the 150s, we're in the 13th round. And that's kind of what you're looking for. If these guys crack your lineup 3 or 4 times, you're pretty good.
I saw Rashad White, but like Ray Davis, right? If James Cook gets hurt, Ray Davis is a superstar, right? Is it like?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we playing the insurance game now? Like we're looking for stealing. We got White, which would be good for Bucky insurance. Like Garendo, Garendo couldn't stay healthy, but he was crazy in his couple games.
Yeah, this is the point at running backs where you're looking for the handcuffs that have a clear path to a high workload and being the RB1 for their team. Guys like Rico Dowdle, if something happens to Juba Hubbard, you better believe Rico Dowdle is going to be the workhorse. Same thing with Rashad White in Tampa, as you mentioned.
Blake
Garendo,
Corum.
as long as Corum, Garendo, as long as those two teams don't draft a running back, which I don't trust that they won't. Ray Davis in Buffalo, I think, is a really good handcuff to have. This is like kind of like mixing in some rookie running backs here too, just because you never know. Somebody could get drafted earlier than expected or end up in an ideal spot. Like say maybe like Dallas is linked to take a running back, right? Maybe they pass on the early guys and take a guy like RJ Harvey or DJ Giddens late. Suddenly they're a hot commodity because there's a good chance that they're going to get a lot of touches for the Dallas Cowboys, who should theoretically score a lot of points.
Sure. That all makes sense. So what are you thinking here? Do you think Dowdle, the known commodity, Rasheed White, the handcuff, Ray Davis, the upside?
I would have went Dowdle if he didn't just go.
Oh.
I would have been ecstatic if Dowdle fell to 165. I think that's crazy. Yeah, I'm probably looking at.
I think we want the Rashad White handcuff, don't we?
Yeah, I'm looking at White or Davis here. We can go with the Bucky Irving handcuff, which I don't hate. Again, I kind of like pairing guys. I don't think a lot of teams do it, so I think it can kind of be a low-key advantage, especially late in the year. If the starter gets hurt, like you have the backup. You locked up a high-end backfield. I also see the value in differentiating and maybe going Ray Davis because,
I love me some Ray Davis, man. So it's up to you. I could pick either one 100 times.
Let's go Ray Davis. I like going with the younger guy who's a little bit more like that's also, and that's not, I don't think that there's any sort of analytics or expertise or science behind it, but just personally, like if I'm deciding between two players like that are kind of in a similar boat, like Ray Davis and Rashad White, both talented, both RB2s, I'm just going to pick the younger guy with more juice.
Sure.
Because you never know when the older guy, especially a running back, is just going to kind of fall apart.
And Rashad White's probably like 25 too.
Right. Oh man,
really.
we're really getting boxed out a wide receiver.
Are we? Adonai Mitchell, I like. Let's see.
Yeah, Pierce and Wicks both went. Oh boy. We could just double down and go Rashad White if he's here with our next pick.
Well, let's look at the wide receivers. Let's see. Some names we recognize?
Mark.
No
one.
Paul Douglas, my guy.
You want to go? Let's go with some Smoke Douglas. I don't hate the pick. He's certainly the wide receiver too now, and I think they add somebody, but he seems like a pretty safe guy. At least for some PPR, if we wanted to do that.
But they had a bum quarterback half the season. Rookie Drake May, man, pop.
Yeah. Yep. I don't hate it. Yeah, I knew I wasn't getting the button in time, so I just queued him up. I just knew I wasn't getting it in time. Oh man, I can't believe that we lost out on Rico Dowdle. I do like Ray Davis though, but man, I really thought Rico Dowdle might end up there once I saw him all the way down. Okay, so now we've got 4 running backs, 7 receivers. We're still, I think, good on quarterback, tight end. I think we focus on. I still think we focus on receiver. I think we just got to kind of keep taking some shots because, like I said, we have one guaranteed starter every week. Theoretically speaking, of course.
On Chicago.
In Chicago, theoretically have one in Denver.
Yeah.
And then as of right now, we're kind of hoping for Ricky, Cedric Tillman, or Pop Douglas to kind of fill in that third spot, and possibly our flex if our running backs or double tight end can't get that job done. So yeah, I think we keep taking shots at wide receiver. Personally.
So the dream is I guess if we're starting Evan and Likely's in the flex because they both scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think that certainly is possible. Some weeks. I'm not saying it's something that we should bank on, but
no.
I think that they're both good enough to make it happen. I think they could really both finish inside the top 10 at tight end, and I think that could end up being pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a handful of weeks where we rock the double tight end.
Okay, nice. We got a few picks. So what are we looking here?
At this point, ADP almost doesn't really matter
So
either.
Adonai Mitchell, we go for like they got. He's got the talent. It's just Indy. I mean, it's not the great best spot because they got Downs, Pittman, and Pierce, but
A little nice little second year breakout though is never a
yeah,
bad thing.
yeah,
We could go
Dynamic
Diami
Brown.
Brown, who got paid a little bit of money. Um, go Darius Slayton, who got paid a little
No,
bit of money.
no Slate, no Giants, bro.
Mm.
I like
I like Darius Slayton a lot. I know I'm a
no.
Giants fan. I know I'm a Giants fan, so like that's probably it.
He's when Neighbors was out, he was fine. But yeah, I think we Adonai Mitchell or Dynamic Brown. I think
we could. Oh, I was gonna try to sell you on RJ Harvey, but
you
he
can
just
sell
went.
me. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's all right. Who are your choices, Mitchell or who?
Mitchell or Dynamic Brown.
Let's go. Let's go with Donnie Mitchell. Maybe a little second year breakout is in store.
Yeah, Brown's
What do you
probably got
think
a
about
clearer
that?
path, but yeah, yeah.
You want to go Brown? We can go Brown.
Let's go Brown. I mean, he's still probably wide receiver
Yeah,
2, whereas Mitchell's kind of the wide receiver 4, and Anthony Richardson can't pass.
that's true. Well, I think Daniel Jones might end up playing a bit more.
That might be
Um,
worse.
yeah, it might be worse. It might be worse.
So what about so
Um,
I see Shoulder Sanders there, right? Let's say he goes second overall, he has a breakout. I mean, do you win the pool? Like if you win the pool then if he has that CJ Stroud season?
I mean, there's a good chance you finish better than expected. I don't know that it. I don't know if there's kind of like a statistical difference in like people that had the CJ Stroud made the playoffs more. Um, just because they probably paired him with like an elite quarterback or just like a random QB2, hoping to get something. So I don't know how often he would have cracked the lineups.
But if
But
you
if it was a team that maybe punted the elite quarterback and took 3 late round quarterbacks, then yeah, I mean, I'm sure he certainly helped those teams quite a bit. But I don't know. I don't know like the stats or anything on that.
But the other position helps, right? If you got took Brian Thomas Jr. 112th last year, you almost guaranteed to make Week 15, right?
I don't want to say guaranteed, but it
Oh,
certainly it probably definitely helped your chances because I mean you weren't expecting him to start for you every week, so you probably had a pretty strong wide receiver room. Or if you started RB heavy like we did, and like that would probably be Ricky Pearsall for us. Honestly, if he has a monster season, like we're gonna look like geniuses. Okay,
Jesus.
so we're on the clock. I mean, Adonai Mitchell's still there if you just want to roll with him.
Sure, let's do it.
Like that
Adonai,
works.
great name.
Yeah. Yeah, like that works for me. Um, and I mean, at this point, if you miss on your 17th round pick or 16th round pick, like,
We're gonna
I mean,
miss.
right. Okay, so now I think we're at 9 receivers. Okay, so I think that, I mean, we definitely need to I think we should take at least one more running back just
Cool.
to
Let's, yeah.
just in case someone gets hurt, like just in,
When they get hurt, it's running backs. Yeah.
yeah, theoretically when they get hurt. Um,
Sean Tucker,
yeah, they all kind of stink at this point.
but Tucker might be better than Rashad White, right? He had a couple good games,
Yeah,
so Bucky gets hurt.
he's definitely a name to monitor for us for sure. Um, I don't know that I'm going to. I don't really know enough about the rookies at this point in the draft to like, because I mean, some of these guys at this point, like, everybody has their guy that they're hyped on or what have you. I mean, at
Yeah,
this point, some of these guys can just go undrafted, and like at that point, like, I mean, the NFL made it clear, and you kind of just burned a spot on someone that's not even in the league. Theoretically, it could happen to anybody at this point in the draft, but I think it's a little more volatile for those rookies. You're kind of hoping to get drafted in the 5th, 6th, 7th round and stick on, and maybe you get your Kyron Williams or what have you, but the odds on that are so low.
I liked Marshawn Lloyd last year. I never liked Kendry Miller. Mostert, Hunt probably washed. But we're just looking lottery ticket here, right? If we get a guy who gives us 3 games on our lineup, that's a huge win, right?
Yeah, if like just say we take Marshawn Lloyd, if Josh
Jacobs.
Jacobs hurt misses 1 or 2 weeks, Marshawn Lloyd sneaks into your flex, like I'm thrilled with that. Even if he just does it once or twice, like I'm thrilled with that in the 18th round. A lot of 18th round picks don't even score any points. So like if you get something from the guys here, like you're pretty thrilled about it, even if it's just 1 week. But I think overall we've got a relatively strong team. All right, we're gonna need the wide receivers to hit, especially some of the spike week guys. We're gonna kind of need that to balance itself out. But
But we got names.
overall,
I like those guys. Like Demario will have a big game. I like Tillman. I mean, Mims finished the season monsters, right? Pearsall, they moved a lot of guys out of the way for him.
yeah,
You know,
I think Antonio Mitchell was a second round pick, wasn't he last year?
yeah,
For
yeah,
the
yeah.
so
He's
like I
built.
mean he's yeah, like you don't get drafted in the second round because you have zero talent. So yeah, no, I like the way it turned out. Like I said, I think we should get one more running back, and then we'll still have two more picks after that, which we can kind of just mess around like it if we want to take a third tight end or quarterback just in case someone gets hurt. Maybe take a fifth running back, sixth running back. There's at this point you kind of just
Well,
you
because
kind of
also you might get double bye week, right? Caleb and
yeah we don't know the bye weeks at this point either, so. It certainly doesn't hurt. I wouldn't honestly, if we're talking quarterback, I probably would take Daniel Jones simply because we can at least stack him with Adonai Mitchell. Or I would take a rookie because you just never know. That would
okay.
be that would be my move at quarterback. We can certainly wait until at least 220 to kind of talk about that. I don't like Nick Chubb. He's kind of the big guy on the board here. I'm just going to pass on an aging player who had a catastrophic knee injury. He didn't look that good last year coming back for Cleveland. He's still a free
That's
agent.
terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, just not a guy I'm interested in. I'm cool with going Sean Tucker here.
Do it,
Um,
Tucker.
like that works for me. He definitely showed some talent in a couple games. I think you could have gotten 2 games out of him last year, which again at this point in the draft, I'm thrilled. If
But I
I
guess
see
if Bucky gets hurt, that does screw us. But I guess if it's Bucky misses 2 weeks with a hammy, Tucker fills in. It's we're it's a good insurance
that's
policy. But
yeah,
if Tucker's in our lineup a lot, we're probably screwed.
yeah. Like if Bucky just underperforms, so they go to Sean Tucker, that's likely more of a timeshare. And
He's not going to
yeah,
underperform. He's only going to get hurt. It's Bucky. I bet Bucky Irving like every game down the stretch. He's crazy. He just breaks loose. He's I'm going to get him a lot in redrafts. That's for sure.
you were talking about Marshawn Lloyd, just
Yeah.
because we're up in 3 picks, so just kind of to
Yeah, I like him.
we'll take him.
Shipley's probably the third running back, but behind Gainwell. Gainwell's still in Philly, right?
No, Gainwell went to Pittsburgh though. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly takes a running back. I'm not saying they're going to take one
That's
early,
true.
like one of the top 5 guys, but I think they end up taking somebody somewhere to push for that second spot.
Let's do Lloyd. I liked him coming out. He started hurt in the IR. He's kind of a Band-Aid. But Jacobs is older. He just got a lot of usage in that season. And
Yeah, I like Lloyd or Mostert here.
not
Mostert,
Mostert. Mostert's dead.
he just has the speed. In Vegas, I mean, they don't really have a starting running back. He might get a game or two, but I think Lloyd is a good pick.
Yeah,
and that's
Lloyd.
what we go with.
Mostert's the oldest running back in the league. That's like the
Exactly. Yeah, and that's kind of where I go back. So like at that point, like I'm gonna pick the younger guy. So Lloyd was I think Lloyd's a fine pick there, to be honest. We could have went Audric Estime just to continue to correlate with Denver. We still might be able to in the 20th round.
I think Jalil's better though.
Do you? Okay. Oh yeah, he's right there too. We can go with either one of those, or we can just kind of do whatever with this last pick. Let's just open it up. Let's open up the board here. We can go with a third tight end, a third quarterback, just in case we get the double bye or somebody gets hurt.
Who's the tight ends? Higbee, Achilles. He looked good at the end of the year, but
yeah, so we've got about 12 picks. Yeah, I mean it would be I like Noah Gray, low key, at least at this point.
okay, let's do that. No, great, yeah.
Kansas City might draft a tight end like early because I think this tight end class is loaded. So like they might draft one to kind of start to replace Kelsey. Noah Gray kind of had some pop games. I don't think it was anything too crazy, but I think it was enough to kind of. I mean, he had 5 touchdowns, as you can see. I think it was kind of enough to say, hey, like this guy's got some talent. Like maybe we can just transition from Kelsey to him, because I think that the transition is going to happen this year with them at tight end. And tight end is such a big part of their offense that I love Noah Gray in the 19th, 20th round here.
Perfect.
If you
Are we
punted tight end, or even in our situation, like you said, somebody might get hurt, whether it be likely or maybe likely doesn't end up taking over for Mark Anderson. Like maybe we're wrong. It's never bad to plan for being wrong. You always kind of want to draft like you're right, but the reality of the situation is even the smartest experts are probably wrong more times than they're right. So it's good to always have a plan for that.
Okay, so let's look at these other teams. So what everyone's roster construction is pretty much the same, eh? That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's the. Yeah, a lot of times it's the 3-6-8-3. When it's 20 rounds is pretty popular. Just again, it's folks tend to have more receivers than running backs an underdog, because you start a third one. It's kind of just that much more important. When it goes down to 18 rounds, is typically like the, I guess, quote unquote, typical roster builds will be 2-6-8-2 or 2-7-7-2.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's just,
it just kind of depends. And sometimes folks will like draft, like if you draft like 6 wide receivers in a row to start, like sometimes folks will be like, that's it, like I'm done. And they'll kind of
yeah.
draft a little bit more flyer running backs at the end of the draft and maybe end up with 8 running backs and 6 receivers or what have you. So like there's just so many different builds that you can do. Like we went pretty shallow
Wide receiver.
running back, or yeah. As far as like the talent level of what we picked, if you will. But
Yeah, quantity over quality.
yeah. Whereas I think with running back, even though we ended up with 6, we definitely went with the quality of running back over the quantity. I think Tucker was a fine handcuff, and then Marshawn Lloyd again. It's the 19th round. He's got a shot to pop, so why not? I don't think that adding a 10th wide receiver, especially with these options, unless I do like Tutu Atwell. I just don't know that it's worth adding a 10th wide receiver at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I
So
would rather.
tight end or QB, right? And tight ends
Yeah,
more
I would.
likely to get hurt. So let's do your boy Noah Gray.
Yeah, I'd say it would be Gray or Jones for me, but I think the way our team is set up, I'd rather go with Gray, because realistically, if Bo Nix gets hurt and Caleb Williams sucks, or vice versa, like the way our team is set up, like we're not going anywhere anyway, because we're going to rely a lot on their receivers. So I mean, I don't think Daniel Jones or Jameis Winston or Jalen Milrow, if he finds a starting spot, or Kirk Cousins if he ends up in Cleveland or starting somewhere, like I just don't think that they would help this team more than a guy like Noah Gray would if he gets the opportunity.
Sure, but it's round 22, right? It's just
Yeah, at the same time, it's round 20, and it's sometimes maybe you just overthink things for no reason, but it's fun. Just kind of a little hobby of mine.
Okay, let's just jump over to. We're done, right? With the teams, we're good.
Yeah, we can look at the board as a whole, or we can
just pick a couple teams. Let's just see. Oh,
hang on.
can
I
we?
can get back to it. Yeah, let me get to it. I've got, here it is. Let's see. Can we just get to the board, or is that
view full draft?
Yeah, here it is. Perfect. Share this tab. Do you see the loading screen?
Perfect. Yeah, I see something.
Do you see the whole board?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah, so this is how it ended up turning out. We picked from the 4 spot.
So let's look at this last guy here. So he went, is this crazy? Giante, then Bowers, then QB, right?
Oh, that's an interesting start. Sometimes it's good to go rogue, because
that's rogue.
In a tournament, again, this tournament had over 220,000 people in it, right? And in a tournament that big, like odds are Cookie Cutter isn't going to win it, right? Cookie Cutter might get you to the playoffs, but if you're playing for big money, you want to have that different combination. for some leverage. So that's not a terrible start. I don't know how many folks would have that start, and I like that they paired Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers together. And then I don't love Mark Andrews. I'm not a big Mark Andrews fan this year, but I think it makes total sense for that team because
Hey, your
if
boy Shaheed.
they did get Shaheed, nice, yeah, that's great.
So
That's
let's
great.
look at another build. Go to the top. Let's look at someone near us. So we got three. So
Let's look at
Bijan,
two. They went. Let's look at the second team because they went with
true
they
for
ended up
wide
having more
receiver.
Chase. Well, yeah, they didn't go running back
Ooh.
till the seventh round, which is really the opposite of us. We had three by that time.
And then
So
they got the Burrow Chase.
yeah, I love that. I think especially because I mean, well, he probably would have got it if he would have picked one anyway. But yeah, no, I love that, and I love the first three wide receivers. Then you get Joe Burrow, you get
But
a
what they do at running back? Connor, older running back, but he's a
James
beast.
Conner, DeAndre Swift,
They still
Dobbins,
didn't get any. Swift, okay. J.K. Dobbins, nice. Well, okay.
Jerome Ford, Martinez. It's a lot of this they went heavy receiver and then they went with the high quarterback and tight end. And
It's
they're
a
just
narrow
kind of
margin, eh? If
they kind
Connor's
of
out, they're
anchor
done.
they anchored the running backs on James Conner, which could certainly work, but he's older. If James Conner ends up missing time, um I think it's gonna be tough for this team. But I like that they paired Andre Yoshivas here at the end, just to
Nice.
kind of
Yeah.
add to that Bengals stack with Joe Burrow. Yoshivas is going to be the wide receiver 3 over there in Cincinnati, just because I can't imagine that they're going to spend a high pick on a receiver, seeing as they just paid Higgins and Chase a boatload of money. And I don't think that Jermaine Burton is going to end up being part of the equation. So I love Yoshivas there. And even if you don't have Joe Burrow, I think like for our team, for instance, I think that if we weren't going Sean Tucker there, I think Yoshivas would have been a great pick for us. If we didn't already have 9 wide receivers. But that's kind of just the way it works. Sometimes you can't always take the players you love. You gotta kind of lean into your build as well.
Go back up to the top. I just want to look at QBs here. So first QB off the map is it
Josh
Lamar?
Allen. Josh
Josh
Allen at
Allen,
32.
third
Quickly
round.
followed
Okay,
by Lamar. Yeah,
Lamar.
third round is generally where the first quarterback goes. First or second round, or not the first, second round. No, it's usually like the third round is somewhere where the first quarterback starts to go.
Okay, then Mahomes, and then okay. So we got Caleb. So if we could do it again, would we want to wait a little bit, scroll down a bit? So we got Caleb. Probably went Kyler first, Caleb, and then Nix, Baker, Goff. No, that's pretty good. Herbert's pretty good value. I mean, the rest of the guys, I guess if Prescott's healthy, Drake could run. I love our QBs, Nix, and Caleb. I think
I
I'm
think we've
excited.
got a lot of. I think we've got a lot of potential at quarterback. I'm not going to say that they're my favorite guys per se, but I think that I like the room. I like the room. If it hits, then we are golden at quarterback. I think the guy that got the best value is probably Baker Mayfield at 97.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just in a vacuum, I would have picked Baker ahead of Caleb, Bo Nix, and Kyler Murray. But again, our team dictated otherwise, which is fine. You want to have different exposures in different builds because you can't draft Baker in 100% of your drafts because what if Baker gets hurt? Or like what if Baker just happens to suck? You just don't know.
Sure,
So
yes.
you've got to mix it up a little bit. I wonder if they stacked Baker with anybody because
I
that
was
would
just
be
gonna say, did they
a
get
huge
Evans,
disappointment. No, they didn't get Evans. They didn't get Godwin. Jordan.
Jalen? Not Jalen. I mean, that for low
No.
key stacks, Baker, Jalen, Millen would be the dream, right?
Where did McMillan go? I feel like I just missed him go off the board. He went at 89. I think that's actually his ADP. That's too early for me though. Once Godwin re-signed, Jaden McMillan is kind of off my board. Unless I'm going to pair him at 96, 97 with Baker. I would prefer McMillan if he went around the Hollywood Marvin Mims area, but that's 2 rounds. Like you just can't expect him to fall that far.
Okay, well, I'm sure we can stay with this all day. We got to wrap up. My phone's gonna die. This is great. This is entry to best ball. So anyone who watched, this is Hard Knocks best ball. You should we should all be experts by now. We're gonna do a few of these. So we jumped into I guess we waded into the shallow in this one. Next time we're going to jump into the deep end. Anthony, this is great. You clearly know what you're talking about. I think we found your niche. I think I probably talked like 12% of the time. You just went off and it was great. You're just, it's just boom, boom, it's just shooting from the hip. It's just, this is clearly more science than art, right?
Yeah, no, I think that there's certainly an art and a skill to it. I'm not going to say I've mastered it. This is only my third year doing best ball. There are folks that have so much more knowledge than me, but if you're new to basketball, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I provided some sort of value. I think we ended up with a pretty good team. I think it's definitely different because we kind of stacked teams per se. Like we went with a lot of the Bears and we went with a lot of the Broncos. We got 2 Bucs running backs. We got the 2 Lions running backs. So I think our team is different. I think if our team hits, I think that it's going to be I think we have some pretty uncommon combinations that if we hit, it could work out. But the odds are it won't, because the odds are, with 220,000 people, the odds are you're paying the rake. So I'm definitely going to make sure I note this one so I can keep track of it, and we'll see what happens.
Bears or Lions, 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 Broncos, baby, animals. All right, Anthony, this is great. We're gonna check back. We'll do after the NFL draft. We'll do another one where the rookies are assigned. We'll compare back to this one. We'll keep doing updating, ADPs, and we'll see, big movers, big shakers. But for now, that's it. Thanks, everyone. Check us out our Discord, Sport Ethos, Fantasy NFL Football Today pod. That's it.